Shi Zhiyong is supposedly back. Tian Tao has remembered how to snatch. Olivia Reeves versus Kate Vibert is heating up. And Rostami, well, Rostami is doing Rostami things. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the Weightlifting House News Show, one of the only weightlifting news shows in the world. Let's delve into some of the biggest moments in weightlifting over the last month, as well as looking forward as to what's next with the sport. Also, the Weightlifting House Black Friday sale is now live, up to 40% off across the whole store. The link is down below. Okay, so I know this is kind of a little bit late to be getting to it, but I'm going to do it anyway because we haven't touched on this. I'm guessing you all saw the truly absurd performances from the North Koreans at the Asian Games back in October. Now, this is particularly on the women's side. You know, we always think about the Chinese women as being the most dominant. North Korea just turned up and they set 6 new world records. Not a single Chinese woman beat a North Korean woman. Every single North Korean woman beat all the Chinese competitors that they were put up against. Now, of course, we haven't seen North Korea really compete since 2019. They essentially withdrew from the sport and they've had a couple of years of doing something behind closed doors. And now they've returned and it was kind of crazy just to see what they could do, the effects of it. I want to talk about 2 of the lifts that I think are maybe the most amazing from that women's team. First of all, the 49 kilo Ri Song-geum and 124 kilo clean and jerk. Now, the world record was Zhang Huihua 120. She did that at the World Championships. And now Ri Song-geum, she did 122 on her second attempt and then 124 on her third attempt, which is just staggering. Then on the 59 kilo category, you had Kim Il-byung. She snatched 111 kilos. That's 1 kilo over Kuo Xing-chun's world record of 110. So just insane lifting there. Let's actually stick with the Asian Games just quickly. Move on to the men's side. Rahmat, as I'm sure you all know at this point, the 73 kilo Indonesian, he clean and jerked 201 kilos. That furthers his own world record by a kilo. He's one of a few athletes actually to own world records in more than one category. If you know them all, maybe comment them down below. Might help boost the algorithm. Who knows? Maybe it won't. I don't know. Tian Tao remembered how to snatch. This is maybe the most impressive thing when I found out what he'd done. He snatched 180 kilos. Now he was a 96, but the 89 kilo world record is 180 kilos, and that's held by his teammate Li Dayin. And Tian Tao, I think, only weighed about 91 kilos tops. So that's the most that he's hit since 2019, where he was like 95.5 kilos. So he's lighter and lifting the same amount, which is amazing. He then went on to win. His heavier teammate, Liu Hanhua, aka Gigachad, as we call him, he beat Akbar Jurayev and Ruslan Nuradinov, 2 109 kilo Olympic champions from Uzbekistan. What's way more remarkable is the fact that he had to compete as a 109. Because there was no 102 category at these Asian Games. They removed certain categories. Why they removed an Olympic category, nobody knows. Who knows? Politics, maybe. I never said it. Okay, I just said it. But Liu Hanhua weighed something like 101.5 or 100.8. He was under 102 competing as a 109. And he hit lifts which would be world records in the 102 kilo category, but because it wasn't officially a 102 kilo session, they didn't count. What am I talking about? Well, 185 snatch, great snatch, not a world record, but 233 kilos in the clean and jerk would have been a world record at 102 if this was sanctioned as a proper competition for the 102s. It was also an Asian Games record. His 418 kilo total, also an Asian Games record. So if that was official as a 102, he would now be 19 kilos ahead of any other 102 in the Olympic rankings. It wasn't official, and who knows, maybe he won't hit those numbers again. But, I mean, he is now like moved way out into the lead of those 102s worldwide. Just shortly after those Asian Games, we had the Pan Am Games. Now, I'm not going to go into everything at the Pan Am Games, just one performance. Olivia Reeves. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the really cool piece that we did on Olivia Reeves that was posted last week. It might actually be my favourite video I've ever made, or been involved in making. I just really like it, so check it out if you haven't. But she turned up to the Pan Am Games, again, kind of Liu Hanhua style. She was weighing 71.8 or something like that, but she had to compete as an 81. There was no 76 kilo category again. So she was basically at 71. She snatched 114. She clean and jerked 144, both in personal records. It's American. She has American records now as a 71 and as an 81. It ranked her at number 6 in the world in the Olympic spots as an 81, even though she was weighing 71. But she's ranked higher as a 71, so Matty's still going to be that person. But also it didn't count officially, actually, because it was a Pan Am Games, which is not an Olympic qualifying event. But even so, just ridiculous stuff from her. She seems to be pulling away, and yet, let's move on, because Kate Vibert, the other US 71 who she's been neck and neck with, has just put up some huge lifts. She's not backing down. A 115 kilo block snatch. Now that's more than Olivia has snatched in any capacity, as far as we know. She told me that her best was 111 from the floor. That was at Worlds, so now it's obviously 114, but she may never well have snatched as much as Kate just did off the blocks. And then Kate also hit a 151 kilo block clean PR. Again, enormous lifts. Can she put a jerk with it? Can she do it from the floor? We'll have to wait and see, but I think we're going to see Kate in Qatar for the Qatar Cup in 3 weeks' time. Let's stick with the USA just very quickly. Let's mention Haley Reichart? I don't know. The 49 from Garage Strength. She just hit a 85 kilo snatch from the floor, just very casually in training. That's only a kilo under her international best. Over to China now. I want to talk about, over to China, but also over to the 89s, really. I want to talk about Dayin. He just hit a 250 kilo front squat. We never really see him front squat particularly heavy. I've filmed him make 230 kilos a bunch of times, but that's about it. 250, I think he recognizes that he's got arguably the strongest pull in the 89 kilo category, as evidenced, I guess, by his snatch world record 180. It's up there. I mean, Karlos got an enormous pull as well. I mean, a lot of them do. Keydomar's got a big pull, but it's his leg strength which tends to hold him back a little bit when you watch him in the clean and jerk when he's standing up that 216 or the 215 attempts that he had the Asian Games. Struggles to get up with it, so 250 is exciting to see. So I want to talk also about Keydomar Vallenilla and Karlos Nasar, the other 289s that we need to touch on. But first, the announcement, the reminder. Black Friday is on at weightliftinghouse.com. I'll put a link to it down below. Some of the headline items for you, we've got 20% off all of our belts, leather belts, neoprene belts, as seen on screen at the World Championships and other events. Straps are up to 25% off, tape, wraps, books, apparel. It's all got a discount. And we've launched the Weightlifting House singlet. You guys have seen this at, we first debuted the Weightlifting House singlet, the house singlet, at the British Champs, and we had Zoe Smith, she wore it. We had Ramiro, he wore it. We got some British records in it, which is very cool. It then travelled to the World Championships. We got some medals there in the singlet. That's very cool also. But the whole thing has been a year and a half ish in total trying to get this done, and it's finally done and it's finally out. And you're going to see it at the Qatar Cup on a few more athletes, but you can go get that now. Also, Weightlifting AI, we've got a very cool sale on, which you'll see more info about later on in the week. So keep an eye on the Weightlifting AI Instagram page. But I'll put a link to the Weightlifting House Black Friday sale just down below for you. So to Keydomar, as I mentioned, I think he just did arguably the most impressive set we've seen as a sort of like a clean and jerk complex of any 89. So he just did a clean plus front squat plus jerk at 205 kilos. Now bear in mind, his best clean and jerk as an 89 I think is 212. And I know that the front squat takes less out of him than it does almost anyone. He's front squatted like 290 or something crazy. But even so, clean front squat jerk. I mean, I remember, prior to the European Championships 2022, we saw Nino do a 205 clean jerk, and then we saw Nasar do a 205 clean jerk. I think it was that way around. It could have been the other way around. But to then see a 205 clean front squat jerk, crazy. So I think that's up there. If there's a more impressive set, who knows? Let me know. Karlos Nasar, let's talk about him also. Obviously he tore, he ruptured, he snapped his Achilles at the end of April after becoming a world record holder, which he has since lost due to Tian Tao and Dayin. But he's been coming back looking better and better. He looked pretty good at the World Championships in the training hall, though he didn't compete. But he turned up and competed at the Bundesliga, which is I guess it's organised by the German Bundesliga, but it takes lots of athletes from all around Europe, athletes from the UK, from France, from Bulgaria, Italy, Germany, and they compete in teams. And he turned up to it to compete. and he hit a 215 kilo clean and jerk, which is a comeback record, I believe, for him. He looked pretty jazzed to have hit it. There were lots of chants of Karlos as he walked up to the bar. So that's the kind of shape he's in. He'll be at the Qatar Cup, I believe, and I think he's lifting in a few weeks. So that's going to be exciting. Hopefully he can be at 220-ish kind of shape. I mean, knowing him, he might even go for a world record. That would be a bit ridiculous. Maybe he'll save that. He'll save that for Europeans, which are going to be in Bulgaria. So we can expect big things from him there. And he's wearing the Weightlifting House knee sleeves still, which are not on sale because we're actually bringing out the 2.0s next year. He's wearing the prototype of the 2.0s with the old logoing, so it looks like the 1.0s, but it's not. It's our new sleeves, and he likes those. So cool to see him still wearing them. Let's move over to Nina Sterckx then, the 59 from Belgium. She just hit a 127 kilo clean off blocks. Now that's massive for her. It's absolutely huge. But I kind of wanted to talk about her because it brings up an interesting situation that she finds herself in. Again, actually, because this happened to her last time. She is currently qualified for the Olympics in two categories, the 49s and the 59s. Now she's a 59, maybe a 55. But she really struggles to get down to that 49 kilo body weight. She had to do it at the last Olympics, and it took a lot out of her physically and emotionally from what I remember. Right now, she's qualified in both. She's ranked higher at 49 than she's at 59. That doesn't matter, because she can still turn down her 49 kilo offer if she gets it. The scary thing is, she's in 9th in the 59s. So if she gets bumped down into 11th or 12th, and she's not in the top 10 come the time of the selection, i.e. end of April, she's going to have to bump all the way down to 49 and lose 10 kilos of body weight, which is like 20% of her body weight. And I just so hope that doesn't happen. But anyway, I was just going through some stats and I saw that and it made me worry. But 127 clean, if she can put up, like a mid 120s clean and jerk, and then a snatch in the mid 90s, she's going to be absolutely fine. But we'll wait and see. But anyway, she is ranked as a 59 right now, so she's probably fine. Let's move over to Shi Zhiyong. I mentioned him right at the start. He posted something saying, "I am back." I mean, I don't know what that means. Shi Zhiyong has deserted us for years now. We haven't seen him in over 2 years competing. He posted a video. It looked like, it was either a 150 or a 160. It was yellow, 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 blue, which is 150. I feel like there was a white on either side. Why do I feel like that? Probably because he said I'm back, which he wouldn't say if it wasn't at least 160, I don't feel. And it moved a little bit slower. Plus, we saw him snatch 160 in the training hall at Worlds. He also, I don't know if you know this, in the warm-up room at the World Championships, because he pretended to compete. He weighed in and everything. He went into the warm-up room and he started warming up in the snatch. He got up to 160 kilos and then he withdrew, which just must have been such a mind scramble for everybody else who he was competing with in that C category. But and then he did a 200 kilo bottom-up overhead squat. Throwback to Lou's 220 back in the day. That was epic. Not quite as impressive as that. Nowhere near as impressive, but But hopefully Shi Zhiyong does return, and who knows, maybe we'll see him lifting in Qatar. If not, then it has to be the Asian Champs in Tashkent in February, but we'll wait and see. Okay, some crazy lifts in the 81 kilo women's category. Eileen Cikamatana from Australia, she just posted a 160 kilo block clean. Now it's an enormous lift. I don't know what it is more than she's done. I feel like she's done maybe 155 as an 87, but it's 1 kilo over the clean and jerk world record in the 81s from Liang Xiaomei, which is huge. But then Liang Xiaomei, there's a video of her which surfaced after the World Championships where she set that 159 world record, doing a 160 kilo unofficial world record clean and jerk. Just that 81 kilo category, so exciting. I feel like Liang Xiaomei might not even get the call for the Olympics, to be honest, because the women's are so stacked. So she might be a world record holder who doesn't even get to go. Such is life as a Chinese athlete, but very cool to see those two. Moving to even heavier athletes, David Liti, plus 109 New Zealand, hit a 220 kilo push press. Yeah, that guy's... It's not even just force production, because actually the bar's moving too fast for it to be a max force production lift, but like the way that he does these like strength variations of more traditional weightlifting movements is just insane. Obviously there's a lot of force, but like he can produce more force in a slower movement. But just 220, and it looks like that. It's like, there's just not many supers in the world who can do that. Just insane. And then finally, Kianous Rostami, who officially retired. I mean, he's retired and returned more times than, I don't know. If I was quick, I'd have a nice witty thing there. I would normally use him as the joke. Someone's retired more times than Rostami, but when you're talking about Rostami, there's no one else, so you can't compare the guy. But he just hit a 150 kilo, basically power snatch, and he says something along the lines of, "He who speaks last wins. Tomorrow I will try again." So I don't know. He might be coming back again. The 150 just looks too good. And now that there's an Iranian 89 kilo world champ, maybe he's just feeling a little bit like, I got to show up. I got to remind them who's boss. I don't know. So what's next? Well, we've got the Qatar Cup coming up. It's a Grand Prix event. It's an Olympic qualifier. That starts on the 4th of December. And there's going to be a lot of amazing athletes. Right now, we just have the preliminary entry list, but we've got all of Team China. We've got Karlos. We've got Team Italy. We've got apparently basically all of the USA is now going because they've been recommended by the USA Foreign Office or whoever it might be not to travel to Venezuela for the Pan Ams. So I think they're all going to Qatar. So it's going to be Lash is on the list. It's going to be a really high level competition, which is really fun to see. We will be there filming in the training hall, getting some competition lists, doing some documentary style pieces as we have been doing recently. We will not be live streaming it. We've tried to be in contact with the organising committee. We've had no response. We can't offer you any updates on how you're going to be able to watch this competition. We don't know. This is just classic IWF competition stuff. We would have done it. We would have very happily paid to do this, but we just weren't given the opportunity this time, so apologies for that. But we will be there, and we'll be shooting some really cool content. That's going to be it from now. I'm going to put a link down below. It's Black Friday. Go get all the stuff that you need. It supports Weightlifting House, and not only that, it's actually insane stuff. Our equipment, honestly, I can hands down say it's fantastic. So go grab it. It's being worn by world record holders, Olympic champions, world champs, continental champs, national record holders, all the way down to beginners. And if you don't have it, you need to get it. I'll put a link down below. Thanks guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time.